going to teach you guys how you could turn $100 into $1,000. And I actually want to show you guys this live on action. And not only that, but I want to show you guys how we are constantly doing this almost every single day. Granted, this is not financial advice, but I do want to let you guys know that we are doing it, and I'm going to show you guys exactly proof of us doing this almost daily. So if you like how that sounds, a like would be greatly appreciated. Let's go ahead and dive in on how we are able to do so. Well, the first thing we need to do in order to make sure that this happens is we need to get the right tool to do this. The best tool that I personally have found currently right now for trading meme coins via pump.fun has been Bullx. Now, the reason I like Bullx is because it lets me find things fast before anybody else. And the second reason, and it's the reason I want to share with you guys, is because it helps you save on gas fees. So every single time you're trading on any platform, they're going to charge you some gas fee. Bullx is the cheapest one when it comes to gas fees. In addition to that, for you guys watching this video, you're able to get 10% off if you guys use the link down below. So join Bullx right now, save on those gas fees, and let's dive in and talk about this particular strategy to turn $100 into $1,000. So how do you do it? So let's go to Soul Converter real quick. So currently right now, the price of Solana is $144. Now, in order for us to turn this into $1,000, we probably need roughly like about we need seven Solana to be able to do that. So what does exactly that means? We need to 7x. And I'm going to show you guys how we were able to do this just last night. So if you guys are following me here on my X account, you guys see that I constantly make calls here on things that I feel like are going to do very, very well. And last night we actually called this one right here, which was called Blue. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this real quick. I actually called this on my TG, and a lot of you guys really did some really good numbers. We were able to 7x this. So let's take a look at exactly what happened here with this Blue coin. Currently right now, it's actually trending upwards, and we constantly make these calls. So if you're not following me on X and you want to get into this, you guys are definitely going to want to make sure you do that. So let's talk about this. So we were watching this via pump.fun, and we actually called this. I'm going to show you guys exactly where we called this one right here. Where is my little draw tool? Okay, we're going to put a little arrow. We actually called it at 60K, which is roughly around here. Here we go. So we call this right here. Okay, so I call this on my TG channel. And if you guys have been following my strategies, you guys know that I constantly teach you guys the 2-3-way strategy. If you don't know what that strategy is, I'll leave the link down below in the description so you guys can learn the strategy. So we call this right here at 60K. You saw here it was hanging in nicely at 60K, and then it had a nice little dip to 30K. Now, what I personally teach is you don't go fully big right off the bat. What you do is you want to make sure you go in a bit small here, and you want to make sure you buy it again. So what I personally did is I went ahead and, I teach this every single time with you guys, is I bought here, okay? And I also bought right here, okay? So I bought 2 times. Now, the great thing about this is that what this does is gives you the advantage of if you bought your initial buy was right here. So let's make a line here. If your initial line of entry was right here at the 60%, right? Let's actually move it a little bit higher up. If this initial buy was at 60K, so if your initial buy was here at 60K, okay, and you go ahead and you bought in at 30K, your new entry point, so your new kind of line of where you need to mark this is going to be 40K. Okay, so now granted, not everybody uses my strategy because not everybody has watched my videos. But if you're using my strategy, you're going to know that we're going to be able to move this bar here to this 40%. Let's say 45%. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. So now our entry becomes from 60K, it actually starts at 40K. And this is where things get really interesting because this is how you guys are able to make multiples, all right? So what I always teach is I teach you guys the following strategy. I tell you guys, you know what? If you guys are trading, make sure that every single time you 2x, you take out your profit. So what you do here is you would set a limit here, a sell limit, and your sell limit would be that you want to take a profit. Since we're at 40, you would want to take a profit at 80, right? So it's like about 80% here. And you don't take the whole chunk, okay? You don't take the whole chunk, but you take out 50%. Basically, what this is going to do is if you put in a soul here, this is going to take out a soul and it's going to leave a soul, if that makes sense. Okay. So what we do here is we set up our strategy. We buy here, we entered at 40. Now, if you got in at 60 and you didn't buy no more, this would change because it wouldn't be 80, it would be 120. Okay. So you would put this at 120 and you would say, I want you to, take a soul and keep a soul. So what that does, it keeps you in the game, but you already got back what you put in, right? I teach this 100%. Always get your initials at 2x. That's going to be the key to rule here, so you're always winning. And the great thing is a lot of people actually wrote and said, Bullx, thank you for that call, man. That was a pretty good call. But what we do here is we take our one soul and we leave one soul. So what we do here, let me show you guys exactly so you guys understand. So we invested one soul here. Whether you split it up or you didn't split it up, you invested one soul. Here, you 2x'd, okay? And then you took one soul. So we're gonna make a little like a little bank account here. Okay. I love my drawings. And you basically put one soul in here, okay? One soul. And you keep one soul in here. So we have one soul in the game, all right? So right now, we are 2x. Basically, what we were able to do here is where is the price action here? Does this have the price gain here? I think it's gonna be this one. Oh, this one. Yeah. So what we were able to do is I'm gonna put it at 60 in case you guys just got into the call and didn't do the strategy. This ran up all the way up here, okay? It ran up all the way up here. So if you guys got in at 60, that is 70x because this one went a little bit higher. I'm putting it up higher, but this one up to like 450. I think that was the all-time high. So this is 7x, and what you were able to do here is you were able to convert your one soul and you exit. Let's say you exit here. Now the great thing about this is like can't tell you guys when to exit. Some of you guys could have exited here. Some of you guys could have exited here. So it could have been a 5x, 7x, 3x. It all depends how long you're able to hold. But the great advantage of this is since you are theoretically already in getting your money back, right? You already got your one soul back. You're fine. So you're good. You're like, well, if I lose the one soul that I got in there, I'm okay because I already got my money back. But the great thing about the strategy I'm going to show you guys right now is that you are going to be able to minimize that, right? So that was a 7x. But with that being said, is how are you able to almost guarantee that you were in profit? The way you were able to do it is because we want to set another sell limit. So we 2x here. We got one soul back. All right. Now, what we do is we're going to set up another bar. And that's the great thing about Bullx. You can set multiple bars on this to be able to do this, right? So right now we're at 120. We got our soul back. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move this bar once again to, guess what? Right? 240. We're going to move this bar to 240 right here. All right. 240. And what we do here at 240, that's another 2x, is we're going to take away the 50% again. So what does that do? It sends another soul into our bank account, right? And it leaves what? Another soul. So that's what makes it great. So our bank account, where is our little bank account here? We go from here. Okay, so now we are at another soul. Okay, so now we have two soul. We entered with one soul, and we have two soul here. If that makes sense. So now our bar from 250, from our sell limit, which is here, from 240, our next profit would be when? Right? It would be 500K, right? This one didn't reach 500K, but we're going to talk about that. So right now we have two soul here. We have two soul in here. So we have two soul in our bank that we already cashed out. We're already in profit. And now our another limit would be 500. Okay. This would be another limit. This is where we would take another soul. All right. But we didn't get that far. Okay. So we didn't get that far. So we got all the way to 400. So this is where you need to understand how profit is taken out during when trading. Usually these numbers are numbers that people have in their mind psychologically that they always tend to catch out. And you'll be able to see this right off the bat. So the first number is going to be always 60. That's going to be the pump.fun JITs, like I like to call them. The second number is roughly 80 to 100. So if you notice, like around 80 to 100, you always have this nice little price action. And that's why you see that it's very difficult when you're in this 100 range for the coin to take off, because that's when people start selling. They start selling between 80 to 100. Then you have the 200 range, which is, 150 to 200, which is like around here. And that's why you always see this price action. It goes up, comes down, goes up, goes down, because that is a psychological number. The next psychological number is 300. And this is where things get interesting, because this is where you have to determine, be like, okay, is this going to go over 500? Or is this going to keep going up? So as you see right here on this 300 number, which is the other number where people psychologically start selling, the great thing about this coin, that instead of doing that price action fluctuation that we see here, and that we see here, and that we see here, it actually shot up. Okay, so I already knew when I saw that there was no fluctuation within the 300 range. I already knew it was going to go for 400. So I moved my marker of ideally seeing what would happen around the 400 mark. Now, the great thing about here is that as you see this price action and you see these little spikes that are coming down here, so you see the sell, you see the sell, this is where you kind of figure out, will it hold that 300 range, right? Because as you see here, that 300 range right here fluctuated. So when I saw that this went from 400 all the way down to 300, that is where I worried, because I needed this to stay at 350. Okay, so I said, okay, well, I don't think it's going to go over the 400 range, or it's going to stay there for a while. And this was almost like really late at evening. So what we did is we said, okay, well, you know what? We're going to sell. We're going to sell if this spikes up. So it spiked back up to 390, which is almost 400. And that is where we initially took our profit. So our profit here, guys, which was awesome because we already had 2 here. Our profit we took from here was 5 SOL. So we moved from here, okay? And we took 5 SOL. That was our whole profit. So basically we invested 1 SOL here, okay? And we turned 1 SOL into 7 SOL. Now, the great thing about here is that we were constantly taking profit at these high points, that we were already in a profitable margin because we were taking profits at that with those strategies. So basically you 2x, you take your initials, you 2x again, you take another 50% of what you currently have, and then you then go and you see where you want to sell. So we knew this sell had to happen because it almost dipped 100, right? So it went from 400 to 300. That was a big dip. If it didn't stay at 350, if it stayed at 350, I would have stayed in a little bit longer. And we went ahead and took our profit. Now, the great thing what happened with this coin is that it took a huge dive. Now, this is mostly just more of a gamble play because I already had made 5. Okay, so I was really happy. I was like, okay, we already made, we turned 1 SOL into 7 SOL, and we saw this huge dip. Okay, we saw this huge dip that the coin had, and what we did is we bought back again here. Okay, so I bought back right here, back at this 30 range, which was almost pump.fun, and so far the coin, I haven't taken out any profit on that, but so far the coin has been consolidating, roughly like around the 100 range here throughout the evening. It went back from this 30K entry right here all the way back up to 300. So once again, I mean, that's a pretty good excess. I could have sold there. And I probably should have sold there. But I decided to keep it and see what it did overnight. Right now it's consolidating at 130. So I'm going to see if this doesn't really spike up, because it fell back down to 30K here. If it doesn't spike up again, what we're going to be end up doing is we'll probably sell our 30K entry here at this 100 range if it doesn't get anything higher. So I'm gonna set up a stop loss here. So when it hits like around 80, I'm gonna take my profit because I'm already in profit here. So right now I'm kind of just gambling to see how much more I can make out of the token. But that's basically the strategy you want to use in order to turn $100 into $1,000. And we do this every night. I know it doesn't always happen where we 5x, 7x. You know, we're constantly doing 2x's, 3x's. And once again, this is not financial advice. You guys, you know, this is gambling, and basically you're just, you know, doing what you possibly can to better the odds of winning. But the great thing is we have tools like Bullx and this pump vision feature that not only helps us identify really good tokens, but it also helps us eliminate scams. Like, for example, you see this old Pepe or the new Pepe. You see right here, it's doing really well. But without this, if you're just in pump.fun, you wouldn't realize that this one right here is literally the same thing. This checkmate. Right? It's literally the same thing. So this is the original. This is the copy. And you're able to see this visually. So you know, like, okay, I'm not going to buy this one, because if I buy this one, it's literally this one. Okay. So it doesn't make sense. So that's the great thing about pump.fun and pump vision, that it lets you do that. But the greatest thing I like is that it saves you money, guys. And I love it when you guys save money. Now, once again, guys, if you're not following me on X, follow me on X. If you want to start printing, you want to start getting on these 5x's, you know, 3x's, 7x's, 2x's. You know, usually I'm not going to say I'm 100% right every single time, but I'm more right than wrong. So you guys are more than welcome to join our group. Also, don't forget to click that link down below to join Bullx to be able to save money, trade, and make some profitable gains. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one, and happy printing.